Hey guys, today we are going to add our cams that we've made in Onshape into the Automata Box. Now, in Schoology, you can access this in today's folder. If you are in my A class, it's going to be in Thursday's folder, and if you're in the B class, it's going to be in Friday's folder. You're going to click the link that says Automata Box Onshape file, and it's going to take you to this file. It's going to complain about redirecting, blah, blah, blah. It'll take you to this file, okay? Once you get to this file, you're going to go up to the hamburger icon here. I have no idea why they call it that. And you're going to copy the workspace. Please make sure that you rename it something that identifies who you are, and then click OK. I'm going to open this one that I've already made here, which is totally legit and is definitely not staged for this video. Okay, so this is the Automata Box that I have already made that we'll be using for this class, just for the sake of time. So I've already gone through and made all the parts for you. One thing I want to show you is that in the mate feature, and I'm in the assembly tab, by the way, you'll see there's a bunch of fastened mates, and there's one revolute. So this drive shaft, that's what this brown piece here, is the only thing that's animated. By the way, if you ever want to look at what an object's motion looks like in Onshape, you can just go to the specific motion and right-click on that mate, and you should get an option to animate. You can change the playback type. I usually just keep mine on loop, and you can watch to see what it's supposed to look like. So right now you can see that our hand crank is rotating on that shaft. So now we need to add our cams. So to do this, we need to add items that are from a different document, because I made this document and you didn't. So now you need to add parts into that document. So you can go up here to the Insert menu, and you can see that I've got a bunch of parts here, none of which we really need right now. But you can go to Other Documents, and you should be able to see a bunch of different things listed here. I am going to drop in these ones from the video that I made. It's going to ask me if I want to create a version of those in this document, and that's what we want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create. And there are all my cams. It's going to take a minute to get an idea of what they look like, but I can go ahead and click them in. So there's my circle cam, there's the eccentric cam, my heart cam, my hex cam, and my snail cam. I'm missing a cam. What am I missing? Okay, I'm going to pretend like I definitely didn't forget to make my pair cam in my video examples here. So anyway, look, there it is, a pair cam that's totally existed this whole time. Okay, so I'm just going to drop these guys into the document here. Make sure that you drop them all in. You should have 6. So, oops. Except that I put my snail cam, or my pair cam in twice. I'll fix that in a second. Okay, so now I've got all 6 of my cams here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a fastened mate with this drive shaft and these cams. We're going to be using an offset though, because there are holes in the top of this box, and that's where our follower rods will go when this is all said and done. And we'll talk about the follower rods next time. Okay, so we're going to click on Fastened Mate, and we're going to pick the same side every time. So we're going to be picking this outside edge of our cam, and we're going to be mating it to the edge of this drive shaft right here. Make sure you don't mount it to this cam lock on the edge there. That's not what we want to mount it to. Okay, now obviously this isn't in the box, but we're going to add an offset to fix it. So for our first cam, our offset is going to be in the Z direction, because that's going to be along the direction of the rod. We're basically scooting it down the rod. So we're going to give it a 1-inch Z offset. And after you type in the number, just orbit around to your front view, and I just like to pan down just a smidge so that I can see that that follower rod hole is lined up perfectly with the cam. Then you can go ahead and click the green check. So that circular cam is right where it needs to be. Alright, the next one we're going to do is the eccentric cam, and we're going to do it the exact same way. So fastened mate, this outer circle here, orbit around, click this face, and we're going to offset it, but we can't use just 1 inch this time, because if I do 1 inch, then it'll be right on top of that other cam. Turns out that these holes are all 0.625 inches apart. So I'm just going to type in 1 plus 0.625. And it should slide right over to where it needs to be. So green check. Now I'm going to be doing the exact same thing for all of these, except I'm actually going to use a formula to speed it up a little bit, because Onshape can do the math for me. I'm lazy. Okay, so the next one's going to go in is our pair cam. So fastened mate, I'm going to use this outer circle, and I'm going to come over here to my drive shaft. Now this time, instead of using 1 plus 0.625, now it's 2 times 0.625 over, because it's 2 holes over. So I'm going to type in 1 plus parentheses 2 times 0.625 to account for the initial gap plus the 2 holes. And it should slide right into place. And this formula is the one that I'm going to use from here on out. Instead of 2 for the next one, it'll be 3 times 0.625, then 4 times, and 5 times. Alright, so fastened mate hex cam is next. So we're going to slide that guy on here. It's going to go on this hole, and it's going to have an offset of 1 plus parentheses 3 times 0.625. Should slide right to where it needs to be. Green check. Make sure you double check every time, even if you think that you are right. It's always a good idea to double check. Select over here, offset 1 plus parentheses 4 times 0.625. Slides right to where it needs to be. Green check. And then our last one, which is our snail cam. Oops. Fastened mate. Fastened mate. Click, click, offset, and our last one is 1 plus parentheses 5 times 0.625, because it is 5 holes over. Okay, so one last thing that we're going to do here is we are going to use the animate feature just to make sure that everything looks the way that it does, and also just because it's cool looking. So you can change it to loop. Now when we rotate the handle, we should not get any errors, and we should be able to see all of our cams moving the way that they are supposed to. So, hopefully you made it this far. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in class, and I'll see you in the next video.